Welcome, GMB pros. Welcome, everyone on the live, those that are catching the replay, and those I actually went live on my Facebook. Welcome, everybody. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate your support. So today, a Tuesday rainy day, man, it is flooding out here in the lower or high desert. Ooh, we got a lot of rain. Like I can't even see the curve, and it's flooding big time. But I appreciate you, everyone that's on here. Today, I'm going to make today's pretty quick. I know Eean has been on a road trip on a pack weekend with Patrick. So I appreciate him getting on here. If you guys don't know Eean, he's my favorite person in the world right now with Agency Assassin. He single-handedly helped me with his to get results for clients. It's not easy, but how can I say it's not easy, but it's simple, right? You just got to stay with it, figure it out, get your recipe. And I make no bones about it. In my recipe, I do utilize Agency Assassin. I still use it to this day. And I'm very proud of that. I was skip, hop, and a jump. I almost got an Agency Assassin tattoo. That's how much I believe in it. No joke. Me and Eean were in Vegas for what's that, Digital Underground, and whoo, I was close. But guys, for those that don't know, Eean, he's been around. He's been a regular guest on GMB Pros. He is the CEO, chief operator, brains, everything, an Agency Assassin. Eean, thank you, my friend, for joining us. I appreciate you. For those that don't know who Eean is, why don't you give us a little intro, how you got to this point, Eean?
Yeah. I feel very lucky of to be doing what I'm doing. There are a lot of people who helped me get here. I would always give shout outs, to Holly Starks and to Garrett Acott. Garrett Acott honestly is the one that saved my agency first, and then he's helped me with this company as well. I got here because I shared some results. If you're doing SEO, you're doing experiments. Garrett Acott, back in 2016, I was struggling, and I was like, "Hey, can you meet with me?" And he met me at a meetup. So I went to a meetup to meet other SEOs locally, and that was my first exposure to like a wider community. And this was a couple years after that. I was just telling him, "Hey, my stuff's not working at the time. GSA SER wasn't working." And I met with him and just told him what I was doing, and he drove like 45 minutes to come meet me, and I bought the coffee, but he uh he um he gave me some tips there that like totally turned my agency around. Later, I was doing experiments, dovetailing off of stuff that he taught me, and I found a penalty that was happening. It was actually targeting the porn industry. It was an image refer, a hot linked image penalty. It lasted for a little while, but it would just wipe a website off the internet if you're doing tier link building with hot linked images. It was an accumulating penalty. So if you had tiers of these images that were hot linked, you could just disappear a website in like 2 days. And so I was like, Garrett. So, meanwhile, actually Gabe, my buddy who now runs the agency that I was running, he was freaking out because he's like, we're going out of business. Everything that we do doesn't work. And so it was not a great day, but I was like, well, this is an interesting result. So I took this result, which was bad, and I showed it with Garrett, and he's like, oh, that's interesting. So Garrett did an experiment. He ended up releasing his he still talks about it, but it was this very powerful negative SEO method. Um, and so he was speaking at a conference to share it. And his method was he took what I was doing and made it significantly more powerful. But I asked if I could introduce him because I shared research and I was like, hey, can I introduce you? And so I gave him the best introduction of his life because he's done so much for me. But it got me a reputation as an experimenter, and the people who were doing that kind of stuff were like, hey, Eean, do you want to check out this new thing? And so it got me on the inside track, people that were making tools. And so from there, there's a tool that was working and then it wasn't. And I actually talked to the guy who made it, and I was like, hey, is it cool if we make this software? Um, I try to always honor the people who are doing work, and if I'm learning from somebody, I try to honor and respect their efforts, you know, either involve them in an effort or ask them about it. Try to work a deal rather than you know, rather than just make a buck. And it ended up working out to where that software is done pretty well. That's Agency Assassin. Started it November of 2019. And we kind of were out on beta release around a year later in spring of 2021, where we had a product we could sell. And then from there, you know, it's just been learning how to run a company and how to get better and how to fail well, which is something that's like really good to learn. So I've had a really lucky path. But yeah, so with all those things, you know, I've gotten a chance to, you know, meet and connect and learn with like some of the greatest minds in SEO, and you know, and I just think it's awesome. What I love about the SEO community most is it's really people sharing and collaborating, you know, people working together. And I feel like that's something pretty special. Like I love it about this community.
Love it, absolutely. So you guys have a nutshell. Again, you guys know I love bringing people that are here in the trenches, that are doing it, that are struggling here with us, right? So now Eean is, I think, one of the best out there. I think a lot of us follow after his footsteps and his pioneering as far as CTR. We have a lot of friends that we partner up with that also do CTR. So you know, I think I'm going to go ahead and let Eean kind of share some before and afters, what's going on with some CTR. I definitely, in fact, I don't know, a week or so ago, got on the phone with Eean. He helped me with some tweaking out of a campaign. And Eean, by the way, night and day. Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
I love to hear that.
So if you want to go in there, he showed me how to make notes too, right? In the campaign name and what we did. It's a little pro tip. If those that are using it, what date it, what you did, that way you can have some available seats. You can kind of compare what you did before. So
Yeah.
like within a week, that same week, we made the changes, made a big difference. So
Awesome.
I appreciate that.
That's up.
So that's why, like the other day, we were on another GMB Pro. Somebody asked, "Hey, is it working?" Yes, it's still working. 100% it is still working. So love it. The formula, the recipe changes a little bit, but it's
Yeah.
still working. And guys, remember, this is a puzzle that you want to put together. It's not just Eean's CTR agency assassin, and Eean will tell you the same thing. He
Yeah.
runs an agency, right? This is that cherry on top. So
Yes.
yeah, Eean, if you want to share some before and afters, guys, if we can
Yeah.
save our Q&As towards the end, we'll do a rapid fire for Eean, and then we'll call it. So hopefully you guys will get some aha moments, get a little bit of insight of what the platform looks like and whatnot, and show some support. If you guys have if you guys want to try, let me know. I'll shoot you over my affiliate link. Show
Yeah.
some support on there.
Yeah.
Guys, follow Eean. He's on Facebook as well. If I don't want to forget none of this, get on the platform. Eean is a great person. If you need help setting up, what does it look like? Feel free to hop on my calendar. I'll open up my agent assassin and walk you through it as well. So Eean doesn't get bombarded. You know, not a problem. So
Cool.
the floor is yours, my friend.
Thank you so much. Yeah, so I mean, first I'm going to give a little bit of history because CTR has changed so much. In 2018, you could throw 100 clicks a day at any property and rank it overnight, and I miss those days. If you do the same thing today, you will bury that listing, and fast. And it actually kind of depends on the ranking. The really well ranking listings won't go down, but if you have something that like in like the teens where it doesn't rank highly for anything and you send a ton of traffic, it's going to go down. So our platform actually now protects about a lot of that. We automatically rate limit. We automatically check to see. Google does something called A/B testing, where if you're sending too much traffic, they'll start testing lower positions because those shouldn't get clicked often. If you're doing CTR, you're sending traffic and you're clicking at position 60 all the time. Google knows that's complete, you know, bullshit. So if you're doing that, they're going to detect it, and then they're going to actually move the rankings down on that listing for a temporary period of time. And they will come up, but you'll lose your natural CTR, which means it won't come up as high. And so I've actually been working on rehabbing some old listings, and it actually works to scale back. These are listings that I did way too much traffic. I was doing over 100 visits a day on some listings for a while. I scaled them way back to 10 and waited and waited and waited until their ranking started to gain, and then I started to add traffic, and that actually is a working strategy. So if you go overboard, there are ways to recover from it, but I'm going to show you guys how not to get there in the first place. So I'll enter into this. This is a test. I'm just running some tests. So this is a test of a bad performing business. This is nothing but CTR. And now, like, I mean, you could like, so this is a Mexican restaurant. Basically, if you look at the keywords that I'm doing, this is kind of the formula, and I'll show you actually, I'm gonna show you guys my current safe formula for any campaign that is pretty much guaranteed to be safe, and I can explain why. On this one I just did, here's the brand name. Here's the big thing. If somebody's willing to go down a list of 20 businesses to find your business, they should also be searching for the business name. If they're looking for your business at position 15, they should be typing your business that way as well. So anytime you have a low ranked business and you start sending traffic to it, you should definitely be doing branded traffic. Now, there are some campaigns where you don't have to send branded traffic, but I do it on all campaigns because it's always a good signal. If your business is popular, people should know the name, more or less. So on this one, I just did a few keywords. This is just an experiment. I actually increased the traffic a little bit. This might be even a little bit too much. This is an experiment. This is just a place I eat sometimes. But I noticed that they were down, when I started, they were down in the 40s for a Mexican restaurant. And so I just wanted to see what would happen. And the big thing is so this is our rate limiting. Since it ranked so low, we actually started rate limiting. And so we went 3 days between clicks here. We sent some traffic, and then the software waited. We sent some more traffic, and you can see that it's kind of edging its way up, but we're only hitting a high of position 7, which it's not bad, especially coming from position 40, but it's very unlikely this listing without some other good SEO, without your website getting good, without getting good consistent reviews, like this is probably never going to get to number 1. And citations actually matter again. They really didn't matter for a while. Citations do matter again. And I haven't done any experiments on that, but back in the day, you could send authority to citations, and that worked really well. I would do tiered links at my citations, and that was a very good strategy. But it stopped working for a while. I think that it might be back. Anyway, so this is decent gains. With I started this off with like very little traffic. I tried increasing it because I wanted to see if I could break out, but that's not really working. And you can see again, this started at 12-13. This is not, it's not really moving up too much. And maybe the map's too big. I could do a much smaller map and try and go just much closer to the restaurant. The thing is that I'm in a part of town right next to the Latino part of town. So there are hundreds of Mexican restaurants. So this is very competitive as well. So because of that, maybe a smaller map would be a good idea on this campaign. But like I said, some traffic worked. If I sent too much traffic, it might go down, but it's working okay right now. Kind of holding still there. Some other campaigns that I've done. This one was interesting because I actually just sent some driving directions requests to this one, and it just basically went from 20 up to about 10. This is just driving directions, but it won't go any higher. So that's all that I did. I actually just did nail salon. I'm not even doing branded. I should probably do some branded here. But this was just an experiment to see if just driving directions work. And what this shows is there's a little bit of signal you can get out of an independent signal. This is just driving directions, and just driving directions gives a little bit of signal. It tells Google that people travel a little ways to come to this place. That's it. It worked pretty quickly, but that listing again, it's a very bad listing. There's no other really good SEO happening. This one I'm afraid to look at. So this is another bad business. Yeah, so this is okay. So if you look at all time, so it started, in the 20s and 30s. Now it's up. It hits a 5 sometimes for painting. Again, this is a bad listing. I'm not doing any other SEO on it. But there's that amount of signal you can see here. It's not the whole signal. So if you're really wanting to rank a painting company, you're going to have to do a lot of other stuff than just send a little bit of traffic to it. This is 5 reviews. It's never gotten a new review. And it really doesn't like some of these other keywords. See, this is actually this. I saw this happen with a bunch of listings. Where after sometime in December there's some sort of change, and I saw them drop on some terms. But painting doing pretty good across it seems spend time. So I'm gonna show you my recipe in just a second, but I just want to show you like it's kind of hard to say. Like traffic as a signal becomes a better signal over time. I mean, essentially, Google doesn't really expect to see you sending traffic to a listing for 4 months, 5 months. Where's the oops? Let me come back here and find my. All right, here we go. So on this one, which is doing very well. So you can actually see this actually shows you a timeline. There was an August update to Google Maps. And you can see it right here. So that update started this started to work, but then they decided there's too much traffic. So our tool actually fixes all this stuff. This wouldn't have happened with our current system. We were testing new features to deal with all of Google's detections. We actually released the last of it out here in November, along with ProList, which is google.com searches. So previously we just had map conversions per day. This is ProList/google.com searches. So this came into our system on November 2nd. But what you can see on that term, we go all time. Well, once we had everything together, it went up quite a bit. But we actually hit like top numbers for this term. Some of these other terms, they're up, but they're kind of stuck. Again, same thing. Nobody's working on this. This is really just me like throwing stuff at this campaign, see what I can do. It improved on a bunch of these terms, but it's just not going to go up anymore unless you do other SEO, unless you send other signals, get reviews. Getting reviews would help, or really website stuff really matters now. The knowledge graph is a huge factor when it comes to ranking Google Maps, meaning you need your site schema, you need to have your trust-based authority where you have your content. Your content speaks with authority about the subject that you're on, and it informs the total topic. So if you look at all of your subject matter that you need to make a decision on buying a roof, and Google looks at all the things that someone searches when they're going to buy a roof, and they find all that connected content together and all those articles linked together, and they all make sense, then that gives you authority in Google's EAT model. That affects knowledge graph. And that knowledge graph, if you've done things correctly with your location page and your local business schema, Google connects to your Google Maps location. So if all that connects together, that is actually a very big ranking factor. And actually, after that August update, it became a significantly larger ranking factor. So website SEO and knowledge graph signaling and schema all became way more important to ranking a Google Maps location starting in August when they rolled out those changes to all listings. So, this one, this is cool. Again, traffic only. This is great. It's up, but probably not a lot of leads. The cool thing about this one, so because we're also doing the google.com searches, meaning we'll convert on knowledge panel, we'll convert on the map pack, etc. So when you search MTL student living, it actually has knowledge panel. So, this is just a test I did, just found this, somebody mentioned it and decided to see if I could rank it. But this is a very good result. That's worth something. But again, the other terms aren't all ranking on their own. All right, now I'm going to show you the recipe and kind of explain why this is the recipe now. This is my campaign guide that's in my software. Like anybody who's logged into the software can look at it. It's a very simple guide. This image doesn't match my pretend business, but when starting a first campaign, the one thing that you want to have on almost all your campaigns, and a campaign that already ranks like top 5 for like every term, you can get away with not doing branded search. I probably would still do branded search, especially if I want to do lots of traffic. They should have more brand search coming in when they get more traffic. Because if somebody's searching, roofing company and they saw a commercial on TV or something else, there's some reason why they're searching a roofing company, and they're finding you at position 7, or 10 or 20, they should be searching for the brand as well. Same thing as I mentioned before. So getting some brand terms in there. The thing about brand terms though is that some people will type you have like Joe's Plumbing and Heating Best Plumber in NYC as your Google Maps name. You do not want to type this all out because humans do not type this all out. If humans are not typing it, do not use it in your CTR. Keep your terms simple. Pull these from your GPP dashboard. That's what it says right here. Get it from your GPP dashboard. Go into your GPP dashboard, find your branding terms, drop them in the software. Why? Because Google already knows that it's getting traffic on those. So when we start adding traffic, that traffic blends in better. Next, you want to do some generic targets. This is something that a lot of people miss. They'll just do city term. They'll do like plumber MIC, but they won't do like just the generic plumber or plumbing. The reason that you want to include these is that these tend to be higher volume keywords overall. And so, you know, they're if you're sending, especially if you're starting to send a lot of traffic, you would expect to see some of this traffic to the listing. So I'll do like straight generics, and then I'll do city service. And these are for your like, you know, generic targets / city service / money keywords. These are your money keywords. They should be pretty basic. They should make sense. If they show up in your GPP dashboard, even better. The last is, you know, go to your GPP insights, go through all the keywords. You can, you know, expand it to where you can see all of your keywords and find 3 to 5 keywords. And you can do more keywords than this, by the way. I think this is a good number for most campaigns. And this is a good strategy to rank plumbing keywords. You know, the one thing is you don't want to do too much traffic too fast. So you're starting a campaign and starting slow. This is a very good strategy. And that's generally what I recommend now. So after you get your branded, after you find your good generics or money keywords, and you generally want all these ideally in your search grid area. So for the size of your search grid, all of these terms rank above position 19, rank 15 or higher. Sorry, I've been working on this today. I've been needing to do this forever. I've been working on it on my calls. So generally speaking, you want a grid size if these are your money keywords where these are ranking position 15 or higher. You can do lower ranking terms. I showed you a bunch of campaigns where they're ranking way lower, but we slow those down so much that if it ranks really, really slow, the campaign's going to move really slow and you're not going to get a lot of traffic to your listing. If these are ranked way lower than that, you want to find other related terms that rank higher, or you want to do a smaller search grid. You want to be able to send traffic to the listing, and so it has to rank fairly high to send that traffic. And we will automatically slow that down so that we don't blow it up. Okay. Last thing would be GPP Insight keyword data. Really, you want to do this on all campaigns. You know, and like I said before, you could get your branded out of your GPP dashboard, or you could just do simple branded. Go to your GPP dashboard, expand the list of keywords, find some keywords that get traffic that you want to rank. Add them, find some keywords that get a lot of traffic that you don't care about ranking, but it's going to look good if we send more traffic. Add those. Add 3 to 5 more additional keywords. And so if you look at this whole thing, you know, I'm saying, you know, maybe 2 to 4, that's like, so that's like 9 to 15 keywords, you know, for a starting campaign. It's probably a pretty good number. You go lower, you go higher. If you're thinking how Google thinks, you can plan this however you like, as long as it makes sense to Google. That's the one thing that you definitely want to do. So, so then in general, the amount of traffic I start out with, this is I used to start campaigns at 25 clicks a day. I start most campaigns at 5 to 10. I honestly start almost all of them at 10. I start at 10 searches. I start at 2 pro lists. And if it's a business that people travel to, I'll do 2 driving directions. This is almost always my starting configuration. The only way that it'd be different is if the business is already ranking really well with a ton of traffic. I might start a little bit higher than this. And if the listing is brand new, with no rankings, I'd probably do like 5 searches a day and do brand only. If it's brand new, I'd just do branded traffic, 5 searches a day, give it 2 weeks, 3 weeks before I implement it like this. And I'm getting blown up right now. I need to turn off my notifications. Sorry about that. All right. All right. So, now what you can do is every 1 to 2 weeks, I recommend checking your campaigns. Anytime your rankings go up, increase traffic. Why? Because you should get more traffic when your business ranks higher. Increase it slowly. I usually do 2 to 5 searches a day for maps, 1 to 2 on driving and pro list. Anytime that you're increasing your rank, you can increase in traffic. If you start decreasing your rank, generally I decrease my traffic. That actually does work because you don't want to be sending the wrong signals. If your rankings are down, send a little bit less and then build it up. That's generally the thing that works. I actually have done some experiments on listings that I blew up. I was sending hundreds of visits a day for months, and Google put us in the doghouse, meaning all of our rankings are bad. And I pulled the traffic back to 10 clicks a day. And I just waited a week, and the rankings started going up, and I started increasing traffic, and it's working. So you just need to get to where like Google's like believing the traffic, and then slowly increase over time. Again, search grid size. You know, if most of your terms in the search grid rank 10 or higher, you can have some lower ranked terms in there. It's okay. It's not a big deal. They just won't get a lot of traffic. But generally, you want enough terms where you can send most of your traffic. So rank 10 or higher is going to move the fastest. Rank 15 or better or higher if worst case. And that's just general. You can have campaigns that rank worse. Some campaigns that rank much worse, but you're doing like, custom dog houses. There's not a human on the planet that searches for it. And it ranks at position 30 across the board. And you're sending 3 or 4 clicks a day and you rank that thing to number 1. Definitely does happen because there's nobody else doing CTR. There's very low search volume. And so you can send just a little tiny bit of search and rank them even from a low position. Generally, the more competitive it gets, the harder it is to move it up from a low rank. So that's kind of the guidelines. That's kind of the basis for like how to think about setting up these campaigns. And that's kind of the history on things right now. So that's kind of what I got for today, guys.
Awesome, awesome. I appreciate that, Eean. Hopefully people got some insights how to view it, what the software looks like in the back, like the data you get. Kyle, just to give you answer that, I have done both. UK, I currently have Canada in there, and then the States as well. With Eean's platform, and when it's going out and doing searches, you can tell it what browser. I think there's, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 different browsers you can choose from to
Well, we've got every country. You can do any country in the world. So there's like 150 of them or something.
yeah, I got both
Oh,
coasts. Actually, I'm for the Canadian. I have the East Coast, and I also have a West Coast client within the system.
yeah.
And yeah, it works fine. The fundamentals are still the same.
Yeah. Well, and another thing is so our proxies are Australia, UK, and US. We have 7 cities in the United States. And so we do mobile addresses from all those. As far as CTR, so there's a question. Does the CTR drive directions use hyperlocal IP addresses? No, it does not. The signal it's not like a full driving like you get with like Holly's phones. Those are actually a stronger signal, I'll be honest. This is creating and sharing driver directions through our system, like navigating it from like different IP addresses and running different searches. So it just looks like somebody's popping up on maps trying to find a place and generate some directions, and then they're interacting with those directions various different ways. So it is driver directions requests. They used to show up in the system. I don't know if they still do. All this stuff shows up. Google changes their filtering all the time. That's why driver directions blew up last 2 weeks ago, is they started filtering a lot less. So more driver directions were showing up. Some might be showing up again. It just depends on what data Google wants to include in their reporting. But in any case, CTR and driver directions are using a wide variety of mobile addresses. It doesn't seem to make a huge difference. We could start trying to use the closest IPs to where we're at, but I mean, honestly, I've done some experiments in Denver, and I do have a lot of Denver IPs, and I haven't seen it work better using just Denver than using all of our international stuff. I don't know if it works worse or not, but I tried it out and I didn't see any improvement. So I could be wrong. Plus, these things change every month. There's a million experiments I could be doing, but that's kind of my answer.
So yeah, guys, the best way to do this is if you have a property that you've done all the on and off page SEO, all the technical stuff, your backlink stuff, your interlinking stuff, right? Like you covered your content, you have plenty of content on there, right? Like, gosh, what else can I do? Especially like for local, right? Your plumbers, service-based contractors, it works beautifully, if you show an address for the driving directions or whatnot. This is where you would come into play. This is where CTR would help you a little bit. And as you saw, and Eean illustrated, like depending on where you're at, you're gonna see huge bumps, um, especially in the first week. I know Eean mentioned like some results within the first week. Recently here, I've seen stuff within the first week. Now, don't take that to the bank, right? That we just kind of like, man, okay, that was like what was clicking. Sometimes I don't see anything for a solid 30 days, right?
Yeah.
So it's all based on what you've done before. That it's really gonna elevate you and help. What you have now, it'll really juice it up, right? But this is, I mean, it might work, right? If you do a little bit of this, but the rule of thumb, no, is put the puzzle together
Yeah.
so it can make a big lasting kind of results for your client. Right?
Yeah.
You want to give them the opportunity to get that phone call.
Yeah, and I would say, like, I mean, for the problem is there are businesses that just CTR will work on, but usually they're not competitive enough to where any of them are buying SEO. So, there are like, I mean, like, like that restaurant, I moved that restaurant from, did I show the restaurant? There's an Indian food restaurant that I have in there as well. And I moved it from like 20 to 4 for Indian restaurant around them. But there's they're not like Indian restaurants aren't paying people to do SEO. There's not a ton of SEO, and there's probably the fact that I ranked up to position 4 probably means there's 3 Indian restaurants doing SEO. Like so it's like there are some things that you can rank, but if there's any sort of competitors, it's going to be harder than that, and you're gonna need to have the rest of your game together. There's an algorithm that a lot of SEOs mention these days called Markov Chain 4 MC4. And what it is it's an algorithm that it looks at a set of signals and it analyzes if that set of signals, if a single signal makes sense. And what it's used to do is it's used to limit manipulation. So if you have absolutely nothing done on SEO and just CTR, Google's going to look at that suspiciously and they're going to limit the signal of it. And so in general, the more of a set of signals that you have, the more that they're going to take that CTR signals seriously, which means you can send more traffic and it will get more rank. So like, and this works with other things these days, like link building has some stuff like that when it comes to your content. And I mean, doing other signal factors, like reviews, for instance. A review will add so much signal. There's a period of time where you can rank a business with just reviews. Not the case anymore. So it's like, but the more of those separate factors you're doing, especially, I mean, like, probably the biggest thing you can do with CTR as a single signal is hammer your clients to get reviews. If they're getting 4 or 5 reviews a week and you're doing CTR, it makes it 10 times easier to do CTR. It is so much easier, especially if you could get some reviews with good content, especially if you're responding to those reviews, talking about services, that kind of thing really does work.
Awesome, guys. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up, guys, for if you have a specific example or something you're stuck or you have a question about your agency assassin, please, let's do a rapid Q&A. Make this kind of like relevant to you. Hopefully you got some aha moments or some questions specifically, or you're wondering, what is the number, Victor? What is the minimum number of reviews to get before you move the needle? Now, here's the thing. I used to have an exact number for that in my old recipe. I think for me, in my experience now, it's more of like a consistency, right? And it's more like, but again, like if you listen, if you heard Chris Palmer, he just blasts it, right? And see what sticks. So, you get different, like responses based on experiments and testing, right? So here's my thing: is diversify diversify your ranking factors, include CTR, include reviews, and the website stuff. Because if Google, like they did to me, they kicked me in the butt with reviews. But if I was more diversified, yeah, you might stumble, but you're spread out. So you're not hit with that penalty Eean is talking about where they don't give me credit for the reviews. But before it'd be a minimum of 12 to 15 that I would see an effective results from. But now I'm seeing more, as a steady, as nice and steady, making them stick, making them real. and that's why I do the NFT cards. That's why, I do email blasts to try to get reviews, uh, you know, things like that to get them to be real. That's why you submit, hey, what happened to my reviews? Here's a snippet of my clients, and Google will release those for you as well.
Yeah, yeah, totally. No, I think that's a great strategy. And I think that is the most important thing overall. The only other factor is what reviews do to natural CTR. So there's organic click-through rate as well. So if all of your competitors have 20 reviews and you have 3, that'll negatively affect your organic click-through rate. So you're like how you compare to your competitors is probably the biggest factor on reviews for natural CTR. If you have way less, you're gonna get less click-through. If you have more, you're gonna get more click-through. And that natural click-through, that organic click-through is a great signal. It's better than I can do. I only have, my platform, which is doing certain types of actions all the time. And, I try to make it look as different as possible. We simulate 1,000 different devices. We simulate mobile and desktop, and we do it from, lots of different locations or lots of different IPs, but it's still just that one type of thing. When you get that organic CTR, because you have those large number of reviews and people are clicking on it, that is users on all sorts of different computers, on different kinds of internet connections, with logged in accounts and all this other stuff. So, so you actually you do want that organic CTR, and you can get some of that if your business looks better.
100%. And I used to, now remember, guys, Agency Assassin is to help local businesses, service-based business. It's geared towards the GMB. We're trying to rank that. Now, if you put the puzzle together correctly, it will have an effect on your website. So keep that in mind. Like when Eean talks about like citations, that's like website, and it's all built in, right, with your Google My Business. So when you're sending CTR to like the citation stuff, you're not doing it on Eean's platform. We're just focusing on the GMB rankings. Now, address, no address, I prided myself in that. It didn't matter to me. It's a little bit harder nowadays.
Yeah.
There's ways around it. Get with me. I'll show you how I do it, especially with the platform. Google has a center point. Google has an address registered to it. We're just trying to get as closest to that, and that's the address I put in there. If you use Eean's platform, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you're getting into it, or man, what's Alfred talking about? Like I can show you guys how to do that. I think I even have a YouTube video on Facebook where I show like how to find the address using different, like Plepper, for example, that gives you a URL, can put it, or it gives you like a latitude, longitude, put that in there, and it'll give you like a neighborhood, and then you can kind of have an idea. That's why, like, I'll ask, like, oh, if you don't have an address, what address did you put in that GMB when you first registered it? They put something in there, and then they chose to hide it or become a service area business.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's, I mean, generally what I find is it is a little harder if it doesn't have an address, because Google uses, so if you have a service area, Google uses, well, there's two things. They do use that original address, but they don't give you as much of a benefit on service area business to that original address as they do on a location. So you get a little bit more of a benefit for being really close by on a location. On a service area business, though, you can have relevancy in a larger area technically, but it's just I would say you have to have a lot more put together to rank across that whole service area. People do it though. I would say a little harder. It's a little harder because you have to kind of like on a local business, like you could get in the 3-pack a half-mile away, and you're gonna get a lot of benefit by being so close. And you don't get that same amount of benefit without an address. You get benefit, just not the same. But it does help. It does help being close to that address. But you get a little bit more benefit if you have that address. That's at least my finding. I don't know if you're agreeing there, Alfredo.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's way easier. It makes my job way easier if you have an address, but on point, 100%, right? Don't make it harder for me. But yeah, 100%. as far as the GMBs. And guys, please pay attention to your emails. There's a special out there with GMBs, service area and address, with William, that you can put an agency assassin with the SEO and the website all built into it. Absolutely.
Cool. Yeah, Alfredo, is it okay? I have a webinar tomorrow.
Yeah.
Should I
Yeah,
invite you?
absolutely, guys. I put on here the address, Facebook address to follow Eean, show him some love. I put the affiliate link also on here. Guys, if you have any questions, we're gonna go ahead and call it. Eean has been traveling. Eean has been at it. As you can hear, he has a webinar and he's not feeling 100%. But so I appreciate you, Eean. Guys, if you have any questions, follow me on Facebook. Ask it, set an appointment with me. Show some love to Eean. If you have any questions, follow him, ask him. He's pretty good at that. With that said, guys, much love, much success, and I'll catch you on the next one.
Everybody, thank you.
Thank you.